Okay, I'm outside today, getting ready to practice. Think I might do things a little bit different today. I think I'm gonna practice the same exercises today because I want to get better at them, but I think I'm gonna start practicing them at 110 BPM and then bring them down to 100 BPM and see if that makes a difference in my playing. I heard somewhere that doing that makes you overcorrect when you slow it down. So I'm going to try to be playing a little bit faster than I can. I mean, not that I can play them perfectly yet, but I'm going to see if it makes any difference playing them a little bit faster and then slowing them down, as opposed to playing them slower and then speeding them up. So that's today's plan. We're gonna have a good practice today and hopefully see improvement. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Okay, so I'm going to practice at 110 BPM. So yeah, let's go ahead and start. This is tough. This is tough. Ah, this is so hard. Okay. Alright, that kind of sucked. But now we're gonna slow it down and see if I can do it better when it's slowed down. Because that was the whole point of this. So we'll go ahead and try that now. Okay, so now we're gonna play it at 100 BPM. So we're slowing it down and we're gonna see if playing it faster and then slowing it down is gonna make us better at playing. We're gonna see if that's an efficient way of practicing. So Okay, yeah, that was cool. I definitely took less time to do it, and I have a lot of thoughts about that. I'm gonna gather my thoughts about what I think about that practice, but overall, I think it was successful. Okay, so I wrote down some thoughts that I had about this session. The first is that my wrist got more tired, and I was thinking a lot more about trying to keep it relaxed. And that started to happen about halfway through the exercise. There's some parts in the video where you notice me going like that. It's just because it's so tired, like it got very tired. I think part of it has to do with the fact that I started playing faster, so I was putting more tension on it. And so it kind of worn me out a little bit more. But that in turn made me think a lot more about trying to stay relaxed while playing. The second thing is that I did get through them quicker. However, I noticed this while I was playing it, and I confirmed it when I was watching the practice. I noticed that I was making a lot of small mistakes. So, yeah, I can play them, but while I'm playing, I'm able to notice a lot more the mistakes that I was making. Not only in the way that it sounded, like I was letting some strings ring out, like open strings ring out, things like that. But I was able to notice like when I wasn't hitting the note the same. So I think that comes from just playing it more, like being able to play it better and more automatically makes me like gives me room to think about like, oh, that note I didn't play it fully. And so I was letting notes ring out or like open strings ring out, and I noticed that a lot while I was playing. I also noticed that some of the notes, when I wasn't playing them fully with the pick, I was just hammering them on. And so I noticed that as well, and I was able to notice it while I was playing it. Because, like, I knew that was happening, but, like, in retrospect, I was like, oh, I'm doing that. But now, this practice, I was able to be... I was thinking, like, oh, that note wasn't hit. Like, that note was a hammer on. It wasn't picked. So I think there needs to be a balance between relaxing my wrist, but committing to playing the note. Because I noticed, especially during the sweep picking portions, that I wasn't really like playing them fully, or I was rushing them, or I was dragging them. And I think part of the reason why is because I'm trying to play every single note, but I'm either playing it too hard, like I'm using too much tension, or I'm not using enough tension. And then I kind of make up for it later, by adding more tension to the strings. And so I was able to notice that in my picking hand. So I actually think that because I'm getting better at playing these exercises with both hands, like my fretting hand is a little bit more automatic now, so I can really focus in on my picking hand, which, let me grab my pick real quick. Yeah, I was missing a lot of balance between the tension and release of each note, especially during the sweep picking exercises. I also think this is an endurance exercise. I do have my thoughts written over here on the side. I think it's more of an endurance exercise, and yeah, just being able to balance out the relaxed feel, but committing to each note that I play. I think that's going to be important to, be able to play these faster, be able to play them cleaner, be able to, be better, be a better guitarist. I do think I'm improving, but I think it's critical that this becomes automatic in a sense in order for my picking hand to become better. Because if I can't play the notes on my fretting hand, then there's no point in me of even picking them. I mean, sure, I can balance the picking without making any noise. I can just mute the like all the strings, but I mean, that wouldn't really be musical. I think that would just be like I think it would make for a boring exercise. And so I think that it's vital for me to first learn the fretting hand, and then once that becomes a little bit more automatic, like today, I can focus on the picking hand and I can notice these things. But yeah, it's an endurance exercise, and so my wrist got very tired. But I think it's good because this means that if I can get through these, and I'm able to relax more my wrist, and I'm able to apply only the tension that I need, I'll be able to take less breaks. I'll be able to make less pauses and play more fluently, especially when it comes to making like my own phrases, right? Like I don't want to play a phrase and then stop and be like, where do I need to go from here? But it becomes more automatic. And so I think I'm starting to see that a little bit more today. And just thinking less about where I need to go, or I'm thinking less about where I am, and I can focus more on where I need to go, regarding my playing. Like, oh, if I play the sweeping arpeggio, I already know what's coming next, and I already know where my hand needs to be, and I already know how it's supposed to sound, and so I can focus more on that. I do know that economy picking part 2 touches on that, on like a lot of tension and release and playing each note with enough tension and dynamics and all that. So I think for now it's critical to focus on the micro movements that I'm making with my picking hand. Because if I already have the fretting hand down and I can play those, without looking at my hand, then I can focus more on my picking hand, and I can focus on placing each note, and like being ready to play each note, placing the pick on the string before I play each note. And so I think it's important for that. Something else that I noticed was the way that I was holding my pick. When it was a bit flat, when I was kind of holding it like that on the string, kind of flat, I was kind of struggling because I felt like it was a little bit loose, and I just didn't feel like I had that much of a grip on it. However, when I put a slight angle on it, and also on my wrist, like gave a small angle on it, I think I was able to play them a little bit better. Because I think I was able to play more consistent with less effort. So when the pick wasn't flat on the string, but at an angle on the string, I was able to play louder with less effort, and the pick wasn't like moving as much, which is part of the reason why I like slightly thicker picks. I think this one is 1.14. So yeah, maybe looking into, I'll probably stay with this pick size for a bit, but maybe looking into how I can use it more efficient. And I think it comes with the angle that I attack the string with. And yeah, it was, however, when I was playing with the angle, it was a little bit harder for me to place the pick on the string beforehand. Does that make sense? Like, it was a little bit harder for me to aim and to get the pick exactly where it needs to be, as opposed to when I had more space, because the pick was flat. When it was at an angle, the size of the pick touching the string kind of decreased, and so it was a little bit harder to place the string. But when I did place it, it was easier to play. I needed less tension to play, and the pick didn't move as much, and so I think I'm gonna try to focus on that as well, on just attacking the pick at an angle in order for it to sound better and for me to be able to pick every single note. And yeah, overall, I think this was a good exercise. I think I'm probably going to do it again tomorrow. I'm probably gonna end up playing it at the same speed. I think I'm gonna go from 110 BPM to just 100 BPM, and then see if I notice any improvements tomorrow. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. We're looking to practice today with my band, so full band practice. Gonna be practicing some of the actual songs for an upcoming show, and so I'm very excited for that. So I'm gonna keep practicing some of our music, and yeah, I hope y'all have a nice day. Later.